explain briefly the 10 steps of procurement cycle. So, first step is need recognition. The business must know its new product, whether from internal or external. But, well, of course, you have to basically put knowledge in whatever you do, be it a service or product. So you have to put accurate understanding and what the services or product is all about. Second step is specific need. The right product is critical for the company. Some industries have standards to help determine specification. So you have to, from what I have said, you really have to put effort in knowing everything about the product or services. Well, of course, a business could not function if you will not have full knowledge on what you are doing. Third step is source option. The business needs to determine where to obtain the product. The company might have approved vendors list. So you should have a list of sources on where to get this and that, so your business would go very well. You should also need a plan A in case one supplier runs out. You will directly go to the second supplier, and in that way, of course, the business will really be okay. It will not pause for a little while because you have plan A and plan B. So for the fourth step is price and terms. The business will investigate all relevant information to determine the best price and term for the product. Of course, that is very much needed in a business. Costing, the proper costing. You have to inspect the expenses and whatever it is to be inspected, so you can have the right price and the right value for the specific product or the services you have. Fifth is the purchase order. The purchase order is used to buy materials between buyer and seller. It specifically defines the price, specification, and terms. So that's the purchase order. You have sixth is delivery. The purchase order must be delivered, usually by fax, mail, personal, or any delivery services. You have to inspect anything before delivering it or delivering the product or services to the buyer, so they could get the best of your services. Next is expediting. Expedition of the purchase order address the timeliness of the service of materials delivered. It becomes especially important if there are any delays. So next is the receipt and inspection of purchases. So once the sending company delivers the product, the recipient accepts or rejects the item. So it is very much needed for the business to inspect everything before delivering it, so that the buyer will not return any of the goods or services that he has. So ninth is the invoice approval and payment. 3 documents must match when an invoice requests payment: the invoice itself, the receiving document, and the original purchase order. So those are the three important documents in the approval and the payment. Of course, a buyer will not approve and pay if it's not a good service or product. Last step is the record maintenance. In this case, the audits. The company must maintain proper records. Your records are always necessary for the BIR, the history, and of course for the bookkeeping. So Last question. Uh, Last question would be, what are the steps in the supplier evaluation and selection? These are supplier identification. The first step is SRM method. You have to identify your supplier. Is he legit? Does he have a bank account so I could transfer my money? Does he have any offices so I could look for him personally? Second is the supplier segmentation. This is an important step. The long list of supplier, as I have said a while ago, that you should be looking out for certain suppliers, not just one, not just two, but if it's possible, you could have 3 or 4. So you could as well inquire for their prices and everything. Relationship analysis, mainly for the top segment of suppliers classified as interesting to build partnership with. The company must determine the existing relationship type. Fourth is relationship management. Mainly for the top segment of supplier existing relationship, you will really have a good relationship management. So everything on the business will go. Next, and the last would be evaluation. Documented and evaluated. So you have to evaluate everything because that is very necessary for your business, so your business would function very well. That is all.